This is a quick story time on how I threw up on my first kiss. No, I never recovered from this moment. It still plays in my head every day. But one day goes by without me thinking about it. But anyway, I met this guy through a mutual friend. His friend went to my school, he went to a different school. One day she just sends me his Snapchat and she tells me to talk to him. Honestly, with the amount of times that boys have screwed me over, I was not feeling it. But honestly, he didn't look like a player. I had a feeling that he could have been genuine. Honestly, was not the cutest, but he still had a good personality, so I still talked to him. Also, at this point in my life, I was going through a really hard time. He was just there to always listen and give me advice, being my person. Regardless of his looks, his effort was sexy. I was like, shit, you trying to get a bonky? You trying to get some of this Benedte? You trying to drown in it? You trying to... or no? We decided to hang out one day. I get all cute. I got on my cute little outfit. My hair is all cute. My makeup is all done. Slay. He texts me, tells me that he's here. Go outside, get in his car, and damn, this motherfucker stank. Oh. It was unbearably bad. And child, he kept talking windows up. Couldn't breathe. But I'm gonna hit y'all with the part 2. Part 2 of the time I threw up on my first kiss. So he comes to pick me up, but as soon as I get into his car, he stinks. And the more he talks, like, just filling up the car with his hot ass breath. I opened up the car door. I said, oh shit. Ah shit, I gotta tie my shoes. Trying to breathe. Just trying to get the circulation going again. I start thinking to myself, like, I'm not going out like this. There's no way. No. If he stinks, I'm gonna tell him. Like, I'm a big-hearted person, y'all. I did not have the heart, so I just dealt with it. I finished tying my shoe, and so I'm in the car acting uneasy. And we're about to pull out of my neighborhood. Where we're going, I don't even know. I ask him, he says we're going back to his house. I'm like, please no, please. So I hit him with the quick, I love taking showers. That shit is so relaxing. It's beautiful. It's an art. Everybody should love showers. I'm guessing that he did not know that he stank. After I said that, I was expecting him to come up with an excuse, but he just laughs. Nigga, what's funny? I'm about to suffocate to death. Once you stank, you ain't going back from that. I'm not fucking with you no more. I could just not do it no more, y'all. I was like, I was like, you stink. What he does next? Part 3 of the time I threw up on my first kiss. So he's stinking hot ass breath, filling up the car. I just could not take it no more. I had to tell him. I honestly felt bad because it could have been a medical condition. But if it was a medical condition, he probably would have warned me. Man, I ain't getting no warning, child. Yeah, I tell him that he stinks because I'm not about to put myself through this. And he pulls into a restaurant and parks the car. He did not say anything after I told him that he was stinking wanking. And this is what happened when we parked. I was like, no, do not try to kiss me right now. I was terrified. And as soon as that motherfucker put me 1 inch close to his face, I threw up everywhere. I swear it was everything that was building up. Everything that was in my stomach for like a week. It just came out everywhere. On his face, on him, in his mouth. I mean, shit happens. What can you do? It's not my fault. He should have never stunk like that. So he just goes, what the fuck? And I know he ain't what the fuck in me. Remember, you the one that stank, not me. So we end up... And I drive it home and I block him, child.
Story time about how I snuck out of the house and got caught by my crazy psycho mother. Warning you guys, but here we go. At the time, I was 19 and I just got done with my first year at a university. And while I was at school, I met this cute boy, which we're going to call Kendrick. And that whole year, we were talking. So summertime rolls around and I go back to live with my parents. And when it came to my parents, they were very strict about me talking to boys, especially my mom. And I know I was 19, but my mom did not allow me to go out if she didn't know where I was at. So this one day, Kendrick is like, oh, we should go out one night. And I went and told my mom that I was going to the mall with my friends. But as the time got later, it was like too late. And my mom started blowing up my phone. And usually when she does that, I'm in big trouble. So I just decided not to pick up because I know I'm going to get in trouble anyway. So I might as well stay out and have fun with whatever time I had. But that was the biggest mistake. Y'all come back for part 2 because it gets bad, really bad. Part 2 of how I got caught sneaking out of the house by my crazy psycho mother. So like I said earlier, I was out and she was blowing my phone up and I was not answering. Because I knew I was going to get in trouble anyway, so I might as well just have fun. Well, as the night was getting later, I had to go home. And when my boyfriend Kendrick dropped me off, there was a whole bunch of cars outside of my house. And police cars. When I walked into my house, I saw all of my family, uncle, aunts, cousins, police. It was a whole bunch of people in there. I had my uncles and aunt walking up to me asking what happened to me. Said they called the police because they thought I got kidnapped. At one point, I was going to lie and said I got kidnapped because I didn't want to get in trouble. But I just told everybody I was out with a friend. But when my mom saw me, it was over. It was over. I should have just went ahead and buried my grave then and there because I got my ass whooped in front of everybody and the cops.
Story time about how I lost my V card and my dad found out. My dad is insanely strict. I couldn't wear skirts or shorts. I wasn't allowed to wear makeup. I couldn't have guy friends. I was never allowed to go out anywhere by myself. Instead, my dad sent my older brother with me everywhere. He hated and I hated. By the way, I was 16 when this all happened. I needed some type of freedom, so I decided to join track and field. I asked my dad for permission and he said yes. At first, I loved it. I trained every day after school and I also met new friends, guys and girls. And my brother wasn't there, so I was able to talk to all the boys. Well, there was this one boy, let's call him Jake. Jake was so cute. I knew that he liked me and he obviously knew that I liked him. He was the fastest guy in the group and he would go out of his way to help me out and give me advice. So we started talking on the phone almost every day for like 10 minutes. He knew my dad was strict. We would see each other at practice almost every day. He asked me to be his girlfriend and I said yes. It was our little secret. We decided to stay late after practice one day. We thought we were by ourselves at the gym. We started making out, and one thing led to another. Part 2 is, so my dad takes my phone and starts reading all of my messages, which confirms that I have a boyfriend and I've been talking to him every single day. My mom was crying the whole time, and my dad was just yelling at me. He took away my phone, my computer, and even took the door down from my room so that I had no privacy. Then my dad made me get in the car and he drove me to Jake's house. We knocked on the door and his mom opened the door. She tried to calm my dad down, but he wasn't listening. Then Jake comes downstairs and my dad just starts yelling at him too. But Jake tried to deny everything. His mom told him to stop lying and then he finally said yes. We did it. My dad told him to never look for me again. I never saw Jake after that, and now that it's been a few years, I'm dating a girl now and I don't know how to tell him.
Storytime about my shitty-ass ex-boyfriend. So a little background information. My ex and I have been dating for about 2 years. And throughout those 2 years, he was a dick. He would cheat on me, talk to other girls more than me, but of course I pretended that everything was perfect in my relationship. I would brag to all these people about how my relationship was so good, blah blah blah, and everything else. Because it's embarrassing whenever bitches can talk shit because your relationship is very toxic. Like, listen to this bullshit. The whole 2 years we were dating, I had over 10 girls DM me on Instagram saying that they screwed my boyfriend at his house. I never confronted him about it. I was just one of those girls that cared way too much about what everybody else thought. Okay, now fast forward. And it was a Friday at school, and Thanksgiving break was the following day. And him and I have this whole plan to spend the whole break together, because literally a week before that, he was on vacation in North Carolina for 2 whole weeks. Well, instead of going with him after school, I decided to go home, get an overnight bag like for part 2. Part 2 about my shitty ex-boyfriend. So like I said, the original plan was for us to go together to his house after school. But I was like, I'm going to be spending the whole week over there. I should probably pack some clothes and get a shower. So after school, he drove me to my house. And he said that his parents wanted to have dinner together, so he had to go back to his house. And he would pick me up later. So when I got to my house, I got ready and everything, blah, blah, blah. And by this time, it was like 8 o'clock. Well, I kept texting and calling him, asking him where he's at, if he's coming to get me still. Then I realized that none of my text messages were going through. So then I go to text him on Snap. And what do you know? I couldn't find him on there. And then I call him off my mom's phone. He answers the phone and hangs up right away. Well, we were supposed to have a little party at his house too, that all of my friends were going to. So I texted every single one of them. None of them answered the phone. And I remembered that my one friend had shared her location with me before. So I went and looked at her location and where was she at? My boyfriend's house. So while I sat at home crying that whole week, he was throwing parties and cheating on me with my friends. And when we went back to school, he acted like we were never in a relationship.
Story time on how I got caught stealing tampons. Yes, I know tampons. Anyways, this was when I was in 6th grade, and at the time, I didn't even start my period. But my best friend Katrina did. She'd get really cute pads and tampons, the one with butterflies and flowers. And I was so jealous because I wanted to keep those cute packets in my purse and take them into the bathroom. So one day after school, I go into a pharmacy and I see the exact same tampons that my friend Katrina had, but they were like $24 and I didn't have that. So I stuffed a box of tampons in my book bag and I tried to walk out. But before I get close to the door, an employee stops me and takes me into a room. And guys, when she found out what I stole, I didn't even get in trouble. She actually bought them for me, and she bought me Tylenol.
Storytime about my psychotic best friend. So we're going to call this girl Gia. So a little background information. This all happened whenever I was in 9th grade. I saw Gia sitting at this lunch table alone and I invited her to come sit with my friends and I. And after talking to her, I found out that she was a new student and she didn't have any friends. So her and I started hanging out and we became really close. Like, she would come over my house 24/7. Well, my older sister was a grade above us and she would act really weird around her. And by weird, I mean like she would always make fun of me in front of my sister. And weirdly enough, try to cause problems between us. My sister didn't really like her. She thought that she was weird. But because she was my friend, she was being super nice to her. Well, like a month later, she started trying to become best friends with my sister. Like any conversation she would have, I would be like, oh, do you want to come over? She would be like, no, sorry, I'm hanging out with your sister today. And I would go home and I would be like, hey, are you hanging out with Gia today? And my sister would be like, what the hell are you talking about? Like for part 2. Part 2 about my psychotic best friend. So like I said, my sister was like, no, what are you talking about? So at this point, I'm thinking, oh, this girl's really weird. But it gets even worse. She comes over my house one day to hang out with me and goes in my sister's room the whole time. My sister dyed her hair black, so what does she do? She dyes her hair black too. The obsession was like really fucking weird. Anyway, so the one night that Gia's over, yes, I still had her over after this because I didn't think it was really weird at the time. My sister had her boyfriend over and they were in the living room watching a movie, and the whole time Gia is begging me to go in the living room and watch the movie with them. So I'm like, fine, whatever, we'll do that. We go into the living room, we all sit on the couch, and my couch is kind of small, so like we all had to squish. So she sits her ass right next to my sister's boyfriend. Well, my sister's boyfriend got up and started freaking the fuck out. Well, turns out that Gia was trying to touch him under the blanket. So I told her to leave. The next day, I got a whole paragraph of her saying that she just wanted to be like my sister because she never had an older sister.
Let me tell y'all how I ruined my uncle's engagement proposal while I take off my makeup. So basically, my uncle threw a little get-together, invited my family, obviously. At that get-together, he was planning on proposing to his soon-to-be fiance. He brought out a really big cake, and that cake had whipped cream on it. Okay, best believe I dived in. Listen, I'm not a big fan of icing, but I might do a backflip for some whipped cream. Everyone got a slice of cake and it was gone. The plate was completely empty. My uncle starts panicking and looking around. Everyone starts eyeing him because he's acting really weird. Mind you, nobody knew that he was going to propose to his girlfriend. Me and my family end up having to leave early because of my little sister's ballet ceremony. Eventually, my dad gets a call from my uncle basically saying that he was planning the proposal and the ring is nowhere to be found. Now, where did he put the ring, you may ask? Well, it was in the center of the cake and it was supposed to be a big reveal once everybody took their piece. My parents come to me and ask me if I've seen it anywhere. I told them that I had no idea. And all of a sudden, ooh, I gotta take a shit. When I got to the bathroom, I was blowing up the toilet, okay? I felt something real rough pop out my booty hole. I turn around to look because it hurt, and I see a ring in the toilet bowl floating amidst my diarrhea. Part 2 of how I ruined my uncle's engagement proposal while I take off my makeup. So like I said, after I ate the cake at the engagement party for my uncle's proposal, I got really bad diarrhea. And when I go to the bathroom, I shit out the ring. So a lot was going through my mind at this moment. I didn't know if I was supposed to grab it. Do I reach into my diarrhea and take it out? Do I rinse it and then give it back? Or do I just flush and act like I didn't see shit? Who would really want a ring that was sitting in somebody's diarrhea? Even if I rinsed it, even if I washed it with soap, it still had the diarrhea particles on it. There's all different types of creases in rings. So best believe I flushed that shit. Act like that whole thing did not just happen. Well, things took a turn for the worse once my uncle said that he paid $10,000 for that ring. I felt extremely guilty. I'd rather feel guilty than admit to anybody what happened. Until this day, nobody in my family knows what happened to that ring. I will live with this secret until the day that I die.